Hi, everybody. It's Stacey Corder from the Business Success Network and Magazine. We are going live today from our Facebook page, from our LinkedIn page, and from our YouTube channel. So if you aren't already in the Business Success Network UK community, head over to Facebook, search Business Success Network UK, and you will find all the tools, tips, and techniques to help you and grow your business. Obviously, at the moment, there's lots of awards chatter in there at the moment because we've got the BSN Awards coming up in June, end of June. And we are, last night we were busy. If anyone's seen that meme of Jim Carrey doing this at a computer, that was so me over for the last 3 days. So all the finalists went out. We now have 121 finalists across 6 categories. So what better time than to start introducing our awards sponsors to you? Now, the first sponsor that we've got in, she has become a really, really great friend over the last few years. We met before COVID at a networking group. Funnily enough, she didn't even know if she wanted to move to the area at that point. We convinced her we were so great round here that she did move. And we've been networking together ever since. And she's phenomenal. So I'm really pleased when she said she was going to become a sponsor. And she has just said to me now, what we're going to talk about. And I said, well, you. So she's got her lippy on. She's done her hair. She's got a mascara on. She's doing much better than I am today. She always looks so glam. So I'm going to bring her on because you don't want to listen to me. It's the awesome Katie Murray.
Hello.
You're laughing at me. I could see you laughing in the green room.
What's laughing at you? I think my first intro to you was, hi, my name's Katie. I'm an HR consultant and I think I'm moving to Leamington.
Yes. And you know what, though? I really love that because you weren't taking any chances, let's face it. You were like, right, I'm going to be self-employed. I'm possibly moving to this area. So let's check out the networking. Let's go and find all the other crazy self-employed people that are on this
journey. Crazies, I'm not going to lie.
And so Katie did that lunchtime. I'm pretty sure it was at lunchtime or an evening. Anyway,
it was lunchtime.
She found the loudest corner of the room and went and parked herself right in the middle of it. And as somebody who was running that community at the time, you think, well, she's either going to love it or she's going to hate it. There's going to be no in between. And you came back, you moved, you're here. Lovely Warwickshire.
Had a great time.
And now here we are, ready for the BSN Awards. I was just saying before we came online, I'm loving seeing you getting excited. So in the group, people will have seen you commenting, replying. They've probably had a reply from you if they've ever posted in there because you are a prolific networker. We'll talk about that more in a minute.
Hey, Gary.
So you've been in my inbox, which is what people won't see. And you're like, is it 4:00 yet? Is the announcements coming? Like, what? I love it. I love it when people get involved and get really excited. It makes me realize it's not just me. But I love it when sponsors do as well because it makes you more visible, and that's what the sponsorship's about. So Gary says hello, by the way. And here is another person that you have been networking with. Or should I say her child? Because you stole
Carly. I didn't steal him. I just gave him cuddles.
Yes. There you go. We are open to all, folks. There we go. And if you're ever in the Warwick and Leamington group and you're worried about childcare, don't be, because Katie will quite happily help.
If I'm there, I'll sort it.
Exactly. Let's start by doing a bit of an intro for you then. Who are you? Sound like Cilla Black now. Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Who are you? So I'm Katie. I run a business called Katie J Copywriting, and it's a specialist HR copywriting business because prior to becoming a copywriter, I spent 20 years as an HR professional. And I still love the industry. I still love a load of people who work in it. I just have zero interest in sitting in disciplinaries, in grievances, and all of that kind of stuff. And the things that I really love doing I've just seen Carly's comment, are actually the kind of bigger project stuff, which are great, but they're not very good when you've got a little one. And my toddler is now 3.5. So when he came along, I knew I needed to shift to something. And I've always done kind of comms and writing, and I know I wrote in my own sort of application about the fact that actually when I was a kid, I'd do things like, you know, sit on grandpa's knee to do the crossword. And I was always playing Scrabble with with Gran, and we'd watch Countdown together and try and get the best words and all that sort of thing. So language and words has always been in my blood somewhere. So it's just really nice to now use that on a day-to-day basis, and I still use it for the HR community, because there are some incredible HR professionals out there who are running their own business, but they find it really hard to stand in center stage and shout about themselves and shout about their business. And I now get to do that and help them do that. And it's kind of a cool job. I kind of like it.
It is, and it's such a. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before, but HR is quite a reactive industry. You know, like you mentioned there, you're not doing disciplinaries, you're not doing this anymore. And I suppose when you are self-employed or you've got your own business, kind of you didn't sign up to HR. So having those HR professionals is really key to make sure you're doing it all correct and all that kind of thing. But also that there's quite a lot of jargon when it comes to HR, isn't there? So you are really good at cutting through all that. You're almost kind of twofold. You are really good at saying to HR people, I understand this, but you know, your average business owner, that's not what they want. You need to tell it like this. And to the average business owner, you are helping them to see exactly which HR professional they need, what kind of service. So it is amazing. I love the fact, by the way, that Carly has said she's going to knock on your door now. She knows where you live and you're live. So if we hear a knock on the door, we know that there is a certain Carly just doing it to cause trouble. Another comment that you might like. Now, this is from one of our Rising Star parents.
Amazing.
Chris Dawes, his daughter Emma has set up her own business and is one of the finalists. And look, chuffed our little one is a finalist. Hashtag TK Maxx dress frock for the win.
Absolutely, Chris. I am all up for the TK Maxx dress, mate.
To be honest,
go for it.
When I saw that comment just come up in the comment section before I clicked live, I thought he was saying he was getting his frock from TK Maxx. I'm not going to lie. And I wouldn't put it past Chris either. So I think the monkeys, as we'll call them, Chris Dawes, Lindsay, and now Emma, are going to have an amazing night, because as a parent as well, how amazing that your daughter's got through.
That's fab, isn't it?
Chris
is one of those people I know.
Yeah,
I know of, but I've not met, so I cannot wait to get in a room with him, because he's kind of, I've got so many different contacts who know him through different things, and kind of, he's just one of those people who's been in my network in some form for a long time, but never actually had the opportunity to meet. So, he's one I'll definitely be sitting down on the night.
You'll definitely know when you've met that monkey. Absolutely. And so we were just talking, so it's quite good that Chris has popped up, actually, because you were saying as a sponsor, you would love to have a chat with all the finalists and just kind of do something, in your words. I'm laughing now because he's put, it's a date, don't tell the missus. But I bet she sat right next to you doing all the work while you're
Probably
watching.
Is, yeah.
Yeah, between Chris and Carly, look, the whole thing's gone off. It's just gone off now. These are the way the lives go. We never plan in what we're going to say, because someone will pop up and absolutely disrupt the hell out of it. So, but what we were just saying is you've got some amazing finalists within your category. And as a sponsor, you are really active, and you're really, you want to kind of get to know them. You want to see what they're about. We're both kind of quite pleased that we're not judging this at all, because this is a hard category. I think Rising Star is so important, and our conversation with that, the reasons you wanted to. Would you want to share why did you want to sponsor Rising Star?
So Rising Star, I think when you and I first talked about sponsorship and things like that, we talked about a number of different things, and you were like, maybe you want to sponsor this or that. And when I went to go and look at the categories, the one that jumped at me was Rising Star. And the reason that it jumped at me is because even, from kind of right at the beginning of my career, it's always been about having the right people, really playing to their strengths, kind of celebrating their success, identifying, making sure that they are being recognized. So going back to your kind of comment about HR and it being reactive, sometimes it's not. And actually, when you get it really right, it's not reactive, it's proactive. It's looking for those people who are doing something amazing and giving them those opportunities to continue to develop and grow and learn more skills. And for me, that's what Rising Star is all about. It's about those young people who are already doing that, who have already identified they've got stuff that they're great at. So being able to champion them, be able to get to know them, share their stories across my network, and I've got a whole load of different connections within my network, who are always looking for, who's out there, what talent have we got for, whether it's marketing, whether it's, design, whether it's socials, whether it's, manufacturing, whatever it happens to be, it doesn't really matter. There's a whole wealth of people within my network. So being able to shout about young talent who are doing incredible things, whether that's within a business, whether it's, in their own community, it's a real privilege to be able to do that. So the more that I can do that, and we've got 2 months to promote them between now and when the actual finalists, when the actual winners get chosen on the night. I can't think of a better way to spend my time, to be honest.
Oh, I love it. And this is what I was saying. So the finalist posts were going out yesterday. They all had the sponsors pages or details tagged in at the top of those posts. And I always say to the finalists, go and find out about the sponsors, go and look at their businesses. It might be that, because they're going to be promoting you guys anyway. So go and have a look, go and shout about it, go and get on their radar. Same with the judges. Go and find out about each of the judges. If go and join their communities, because the reason they're judges is because they've got something, right? They've got speciality, they've got the experience, all that kind of thing. So there is a reason they are judges. Now, I'm not saying go bribe them and that kind of thing. But what I'm saying is they will all have their own services. They will, don't do that. They will all have chocolate chip shortbread, by the way. Bribes.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, but we're not. It doesn't matter if we bribe you. You've got no choice in it.
The last time, no, I know you don't need to bribe me. The last time I said that, I did receive an Amazon box full of chocolate chip shortbread. So that was for a referral, though, so it was worth it.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was good. But it is that thing of, I talk a lot within the network about getting visible, making connections, growing your audience. So you've got, I think it's 5, 6 finalists. And for that offer from you today,
I'm going to double check. I've definitely got 5. I think I've got. I'm going to double check now.
No.
I should know this already, shouldn't I?
Pulled it up.
But it only came out yesterday, and it was so exciting yesterday. I was very kind of confused by the whole thing.
Well, we know anyway. But
I'm going to check.
I'll tell you what's even
Carry
more.
on, you keep talking. When
you get people entering Rising Star, and you sit there and you think, hang on a minute, because this one's slightly different. It's for under 21-year-olds, and I'm there reading nominations that are from mums that are talking about their corporate career of 20 years, and I'm thinking,
Yeah, you've not quite read the brief on that one.
Rising Star has a bit of filtering to do sometimes, because then I like to go back and say, it was a great nomination. However, you are not under 21 by the looks of it. Pick a different category or
react. 5.
So you've got
there are 5.
So you've got a couple of months, and you've you've said you want to get in touch with these 5. So there will be an email coming out from us asking permission. I'll CC you in. They can then reply to you and say, make me visible, shout about me, do whatever you want. You are a copywriter. You are amazing with words. Your LinkedIn is incredible. I'm not going to blow your trumpet too much, but you are, we've had worse sponsors.
Thanks, love.
They're all amazing. But, you know, I mean, even if they don't win, that's still winning to have a new network of people shouting about them. So, yeah, thank you for that. It's incredible. I just know you're going to be like, I don't know, Willy Wonka or something, rounding up your finalists on the night. I can see it now. I don't even think you're going to be sat in your seat for I
Probably
know
not.
you'll be networking. And let's talk about that, because you are up for 2 awards yourself.
I am. So I am up for Freelancer of the Year and Networker of the Year.
See, I knew someone would pick me up on this. I knew the minute I said it, I thought I shouldn't have said that. Gary Jones, just made him spit his soup out. We've had worse sponsors. Clearly, we've had worse organisers. Didn't mean it. If you listened, Gary, I said straight away, I'll say it on everyone now. No, one of the
now.
sponsors, and you're brand new this year. You are like a shiny new sponsor, which is fab, because I have to say, one of the great things about BSN is the retention that we have of our sponsors. I might have just completely messed all that up now. They might have all quit on me.
You'll get a couple who come back.
Gary likes to wind me up. It's fine. Mr. Leamington there.
He's a good lad.
He is. So we have sponsors every year, and we've had some that have been with us right since before we even did sponsorship. So they've been here every year, which is fantastic. So as the years go by, we have less and less categories to fill because they keep coming back. You, as I said, you jumped at Rising Star this year. We're really pleased to have you on board. I was saying earlier, when you're promoting a sponsor and they're promoting your event, you have this kind of mushroom effect of audiences, which all kind of meet, they mingle, they network. It's exactly what you want. And great things come of it. And you are fabulous at that. And so you are up for Networker of the Year, no surprise there. And you're also up for Freelancer of the Year. Yeah. Now, those 2 categories, I know that the panel, especially Freelancer of the Year, really struggled with.
Which is
really
good and not.
which is really good, unless you're a nominee waiting to hear. Isn't that right, Kate?
It's been so the last couple of days have been really weird, because, it was, and you sort of put out a post saying, it's the freelancer category, basically, the judges picked them up, went, that's too hard, we're putting it back down again.
3 times. 3 times, I'm not going to lie.
But actually, as a nominee and now as a finalist, it makes you go, well, if I do get through, then I'm in great company. And if I don't get through, I was in great company. And, I've done brilliantly because it was such a strong category. But, if you're then in a situation where you don't get through, well, it's because somebody's performance or somebody's story is just that bit stronger.
And you know what? I think, and this was the thing. So Freelancer of the Year, for those of you that have been at previous awards ceremonies, you will notice that Freelancer was a new category this year. And it was actually, I think, partly a conversation with yourself.
Last year.
It was partly a conversation with a couple of others, because I always say, there's a category for everyone. And I genuinely believe that. But if we can make the categories better, we will. So Business of the Year, it's open to any business, any small, medium business. That's fine. But the conversations that I'd had was actually sometimes, doesn't matter what I'm saying, a freelancer might not necessarily believe they fit into that Business of the Year, business growth, business startup, whatever it is. And so we said about freelancer, and we also decided to do Service Provider of the Year, because, and you'll get this working in HR. I think you popped a post up the other day about, HR is often in the background.
Yeah.
I have a PA, sorry. She'll kill me for calling her a VA. I have a PA, Anna, who, she'll kill me for sharing this as well. So outstanding contribution is about all those that contribute to the Business Success Network community. Yeah. And her name was absolutely on my list for that. And she well, I think she'd have jumped down the internet and throttled me if I had have put her name. In fact, she removed it. So we love Anna, and she's a big part of the BSN community, but she does not like the recognition, and she's a service provider. And so that was why we introduced service provider, we introduced freelancer, and there was a couple of other ones as well, based on our community and what people were saying. Things like retailer.
Yeah.
There are, we want to bring in more retailers into our network, so we looked at that, and also CAPS. We have a huge children's activity provider community now, but with new awards categories, you never really know. You've got business startup, business growth. We know we're always big volume of nominees. We didn't know how this would be. Now, freelancer didn't have 40 nominations like CAPS did. It had probably about 20, but I would say 15 of those potentially could have gone through to the finals. Like, there was no, in fact, I think I said to Anna, can we just put 15 through? No. And I remember saying to the panel a couple of years ago, when we were all sat on a Zoom on about day 3 of going through a similar category, we used to be really strict and try and get it to 5 finalists. And there was a category once, and they said, well, look, it's almost like a pick a name out of a hat, because there is nothing in between them. And I said, well, look, if that's the case, they all deserve to go through. So that's why we've kind of upped it this year. You get between 5 and 8 now. I think most of them have got 8, because I just think, me, I like to, I want to see everyone win and be happy and get that recognition. So if it's a case of 5 or 8, to have these 2 months of visibility and to give them a pat on the back, then we absolutely will. So freelancer was a really strong category, not for the sheer volume of it, although there was, a fair few. It was definitely about the quality. So, yes, freelancers out there, you are rocking the freelance world, by the way. And it opens your eyes to how many great freelancers there are out there.
And I think that's the thing, is there are, because if you look at the finalists for freelancer, there's no two people are the same. No. Different businesses, different setups, different experience. There's a whole mix of people in there, and it. I think for me, I kind of went, oh, do I go for it? Don't I go for it? And we'd had the conversation previously about business of the year, and it's like, well, I just don't feel that's quite the right setup for me in terms of what you're looking for. But for freelancer, it's not just about what you deliver, it's about how you fit into the community, it's about how you support other people and kind of drive them as well as yourself. Because as a freelancer, you need that. You can't do it on your own. You need to have other people around you. And that, it comes into the networking side of it as well. Like, the reason I went back to doing wider business networking is partly because I wanted to support my own clients better, because I was finding they'd have conversations and they'd be saying, well, I'm struggling with this on my website, or, well, I'm thinking about doing such and such with my social media, but I just don't have the capacity to do that.
I do it so much.
And all of those sorts of, there's just kind of 2 examples, but there were lots of things that they were saying, oh, I need this and I need that. And I'm like, well, I don't know somebody, and I want to be able to refer you on to somebody, even if they're not the right fit for you for whatever reason. I at least want to be able to point you to someone who might be able to help. And that's one of the reasons why I went back into wider networking, because when you're a freelancer, there are lots of days when you can sit at home on your own, just in, I know there's kind of co-working spaces, but the principle is still the same. Even if you're co-working, you're still kind of in your own little bubble doing your own thing for your clients. And actually being able to get out there and have conversations with people and build relationships with them. And, I've got several networks that I'm involved in one way and another, and they all do different things for me, and I'm in them for a variety of different reasons. So, you know, if I come to a meetup and mingle with you, it's because I want to see some people face to face who are local, who I can get to know.
She wants cake. She wants cake. There's nothing about me. It's cake.
I mean, cake helps.
Or breakfast.
You know, but it's you know, there's that. I've got a book club that I go to monthly, which gives me something slightly different because it's a different group of people, but it's focused around the book that you've looked at that month, and it's always a business related book. There's always some coaching in there, and I think it is about sort of, how do I continue to develop myself? How do I grow? Not just as an expert in my field, but actually as a business owner, so that in a year's time or 2 years' time, I'm going business of the year. Hell yeah, I could go for that. Because I now feel I've got a business and it's not just me as a freelancer. And I think, you know, it is around, there's a slightly different thought process to it.
Certainly got to know Oliver and me. He is listening and watching, by the way. What I love about this is that Carly had messaged me. She'd seen that we were doing a meetup and mingle. And she said, I want to come along. I've got a little one. I said, don't worry. I said, I'll have a squidge, while you do your intro. Right. We'll all have a hand. I did not get a look in. Did not get a look in. Nobody was going to get a look in with Katie around. But you know, it meant that Carly could network. It meant that, and Carly is also a finalist, so this is really great as well. So well done. So sponsoring then, because you're up for 2. Now we obviously, and people often say to me, how, you know, what's the thing here? Because the sponsors are also up for some awards. Well, we do have a rule where, and this is what I said to you when we were looking at categories, don't sponsor an award that you want to go for. Because even though the sponsors have, or, you know, it's not me, it's the judges, the judging panel, and it's completely independent, it still would look a bit strange if a sponsor won their own category. So we don't have any of that. However, we are a community where we shout about what we do, we shout about getting visible. And so and you'll see this now, I think there's only a couple, there's definitely only a couple of categories left. There's probably 2 silver packages left. And
there's not many that are left.
No, and I know I've got at least 4 people with packs at the minute looking. So this is not a sales tactic, but if you're looking and you want in, hurry up. We've just reached 100,000 timelines, so now is a good time to get involved. However, you know, we do have these rules where I'm like, don't enter if it's a category that you want. No, don't sponsor a category that you don't want to enter. And so when it gets to the awards night, and now that you have all this influx of new people into the community, that's when the conversations start going of, oh, well, what is this sponsorship then? Oh, well, it's, you know, you can get into a magazine, you get visible online, you can do all this. And then that's why we have sponsors that are sponsors, and they are nominated for other awards, because we keep the 2 very separate. We are all about visibility in whatever sense that looks like. And so, of course, if people want that extra level of visibility and they want to raise their credentials by sponsoring, we're not going to say no because they've entered. We're also not going to say, no, you can't enter because you're a sponsor. So everything we do is with that kind of the visibility, the community in mind, the helping you guys. And I think even you weren't even looking to sponsor this year. You were talking about next year, and I just, you know, kept drip feeding you a little bit. Just have a look at the pack.
Yeah, I think for me, so I sponsored long before I considered putting in before I considered.
You were almost a deadline dancer, weren't you?
I was a bit tighter than I had intended to be.
Even though you'd been on all the trainings, all the comments where I
why I was a deadline dancer? Well, it's because I was also writing for different awards. I was writing submissions for my clients, and their deadlines were earlier than mine were.
And this is the thing with freelancers, isn't it? Going back to that, you always sort your clients out before you sort yourself. It's like when you see social media managers and you look at their socials, They always schedule theirs in last. Come on, folks. So
yeah,
I'm not
I had
you a
scheduled some of
deadline
it in,
dancer.
but yeah, it was certainly closer than I was
I
anticipating.
am not going to call you a deadline dancer, but you were salsering around
it was a last day submission, which it wasn't
definitely
intended
was.
to be.
No.
But yeah, but I looked at sponsoring first because when we had the conversation about it, and we'd sort of, yeah, you sort of said options, and I was like, oh, sponsorship, that might be a good way of doing some stuff. And we've talked about I want to improve my visibility, and that's something that is a specific target for me this year. And then when you started talking about costs, I was like, well, actually, that's not that's not as much as I was expecting it to be. It includes a ticket to the event, so it's not like I've got to pay out for that as
Honestly,
well.
when you say that, because and this was the conversation we had. This was 100%. Kate is absolutely right. I remember it. I sent you the sponsorship pack because you'd said it's not in my budget for this year, but let's look at next year. I said, okay, here's this year's, just so you get a feel for it.
Yeah.
And you messaged me straight back with, oh, it's not as expensive as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
We try and do, whether it comes to ticket prices, whether it comes to sponsorship, I don't do the awards to make thousands upon thousands of pounds. It doesn't. Once you take out AV and food and whatever else, it doesn't. Let's face it. And I think most genuine awards people will tell you that we're not in it for like millions of pounds, believe me. Otherwise, I'd be hot tubbing in the Bahamas, not on the Essex coast in Easter when it's freezing. Just saying. But this is it. When you look at the package, because we've got the magazine, because we've got all the podcast and all the additional things that we can throw in, it makes it a really great value for money. And then, like you said, the tickets included. Now, the tickets this year, they've gone up by £16. And I hated doing that. I know, right? 3-course meal, champagne reception, entertainment, awards, bonkers. They've gone up by £16. And I still did an early bird up until January the 1st. And I was messaging people going, just book now so I don't have to up the price. I don't like doing it, but everything has pretty much doubled in price.
Yeah.
So it is a great way of doing it. Like you say, when you think actually an advert in, I'm not saying our magazine, but any magazine would probably be half that anyway.
Yeah.
For a good size award. I'm just going to blow our own trumpet a little bit because they are bloody good value for money. So
they are, and again, it's like everything. You get as much out, if not more, than you put in. So, you could sponsor an award, make a comment on, your award post, and that kind of be it. And you'll still get some visibility, and you'll still get, a few posts up there, and you'll get a session like this. But you can do it that way, or I've seen so Dom Fenton is another sponsor. I've seen various things from him around his sponsorship, around his own nominations. Because he's also finalist, I think, in a couple of categories this year. He's certainly up for one.
I'm not going to remember all 121.
No, I think he's up for maybe business growth and outstanding BSN.
He will be, because he runs our charities community. So.
Yeah, but I think, and you start to see that. You start to see the sponsors who are invested in it, who are looking to get more from it.
And Dom, actually, so we were talking earlier about those people that have been around since the start. Dom is back for his third year. He's sponsored every single time. And like you say, it's about the visibility this year, but he will still have that credibility from that first year. People have got to know him. They've seen him year on year and year. So it's like when we talk about consistency on socials, it's consistency within your marketing. He uses this. Rachel Hutz, she's another sponsor. So she
leads your CAPS community, doesn't she?
Entered in 2022. She loved it, set up her CAPS community. She won last year, and she was sponsoring last year. So, did she sponsor in 2022? Yes, I think she did. She entered, found the sponsorship, sponsored last year. This year she said, let's go bigger. So she's took out a silver package. And she's done it because she said she'll talk about this on her live, but she's not sponsoring any other ones this year because she's now invested in this. She's invested in the community. And when I'm talking about investing, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about time, effort.
Yeah.
She is now very well known in our network, whereas when she entered in 2022, she'd never even heard of our network, I don't think. I think it was someone had entered, she'd seen the badge, what's this, kind of joined that way, which is great. That's what we want. We want new people coming in all the time. But that's why the sponsorship works. She is still reaping the rewards of entering and sponsoring in 2022 and doing that. So
and I think that's, for me, it just made sense because, like I say, in terms of my own business, my own philosophy, it's always been about supporting other people and about growing their businesses and about their development and things like that. So Rising Star just makes sense. And like you said earlier, I would love to get in touch with all of the finalists to be able to shout about them, find out more about them, their business.
You just want to see me do my admin skills and what they're like with Anna being off for a week, don't you? I want to make sure that I'm like BCCing the emails, that I'm on it, that I do what I say I'm going to do. Oh, man.
But I think there's, like I say, I think there's just some fantastic, there are some fantastic people out there, and not just in that as well. I mean, I've kind of dropped a note into the local BSN group because there are a whole bunch of finalists sat within a few miles of me. And I think it would just be a really great opportunity to get people together and kind of celebrate that, because if you run your own business and your family aren't business owners, they don't always get it. So actually being able to share it with other people who do get it, for me, is...
And actually I'm going to share something now, and I'm not going to use the name because they possibly will watch or are watching. That's all I'm going to say. I had announced somebody as a finalist yesterday, and like with everybody, they are sharing it. They're happy. They are like, wow. And then they jumped into my inbox a half an hour, whatever later, saying, "Oh, I've just told the in-laws, and they're not sure if I should retract my fine. They're just, is it going to be worth it? Should I have waited till next year?" They'd basically pooed all over a parade.
Yeah.
Right. And I jumped in with a voice note. I love a voice note, me, and said, do not let them do this to you, because whether they're business owners or not, they are, that you've just sat and you've watched all those finalists, your names come out, you were really surprised, but you were loving it. Your business will win by being in that room. Okay, if you've just started out on your journey, it doesn't matter. So have all the startup finalists, There is a reason you were placed in those categories by the panel for the judges. They've read your nomination. It was finalist worthy. Please don't listen to somebody that's not on the judging panel.
Yeah.
That's not in this arena, because they don't get it. Like me and my dad, we have a pact that we do not talk about work, because he doesn't get it. He still asks me when I'm going to get a proper job. He doesn't understand. He said to me the other day, "Why did you leave that role with that thing?" And I'm thinking, oh my God, that was years ago. Okay. So we just have a pact now that I love my dad, but he's like my neg ferret. So he's that voice here. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching.
I think that's the reality. And that's what I found is part of the reason why I love having that community is... Got it.
Didn't say any names.
I know. If they out themselves, you can't help that. But yeah, I think it's just having that community, having that support is different when you've got other business owners in the room. And part of the reason that I sort of went, okay, there's a whole bunch of people here who are Warwick, Leamington-ish based, who's up for just getting together, is because you can toast each other in a way that says, do you know what? It doesn't matter whether, you know, any of us or none of us win the ultimate kind of awards. Being able to celebrate it and share that success between ourselves.
And so that was another conversation this morning in another networking group, wasn't it? So we were both on a call this morning, which wasn't a Warwick and Leamington based one. It was a national one.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of finalists who are in the same category. And somebody made this really funny comment about, oh, do you think they'll all be speaking after the awards? And it wasn't us, it was Sylvia then said, of course, the only reason we wouldn't speak is because we will have been shouting and cheering for each other so much. And I love that, because that is the exact feeling that I want these awards to create. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about something, and they were saying about being in the room, and it could be nerve-wracking. And listen, I learn every year, and I've run awards previously, and from those previous awards, I've always had this thing of the main room gets locked down. Like, if you rock up early to check into the hotel, that's fine. You are not coming in the room when people are setting up, because it's magical and it's pretty and we want it to be a surprise. However, over the last couple of years, we've had people with social anxiety, with nerves, with depression. We had one guy ring us. Well, he messaged my husband saying, I'm up in the room, I've got my tux on, I don't think I can make it down. Mr. C went up and got him, brought him down. We've had children in the Rising Star with absolutely, like, we didn't even know if we were going to get them in the room. We did. So we've opened it up to people and said, look, come and have a look round. We'll show you where your seat is. We'll make sure that you feel comfortable. This is, and we've taught them through it. So it's such a supportive community. And I know I sound cheesy when I say everyone in that room is a winner, but they genuinely are, just for even for being in the room. 121 finalists, 16 categories. That makes you the top, 5, 8 in those categories. Yeah. There are millions of businesses out there, so you are absolutely winning already. But we are really supportive, and we just want to encourage more people into the network that are supportive. We have a bit of a rule, as in there aren't really any rules. It's just don't be a dick. There you go.
It's a good enough rule for me.
So as long as you're not a dick, then come and join us, come and celebrate. But what I love what you were saying about the Warwick and Leamington, and let's just get together. And, you know, you are like a networking queen anyway. You know, there are lots of people within the network who are very good at networking. Let's all meet up. There will be people in those groups. There will be people in the community and outside the community seeing all these purple, I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? Purple and silver social media posts.
It's all over my feed.
And they'll be saying, I wish I had entered. I wish I had the courage to enter. I should have entered, but I didn't. I forgot. I'm not that person, but if I was, I would have entered. And so everything that you guys are putting out now as finalists and as sponsors, hopefully will give them the courage to comment and to say that and to use your posts, because they're too scared to do it themselves, to grow their audience, to get visible. And maybe next year we'll see them enter as well.
Yeah.
Gary Jones, as if by magic, has literally just typed that as we were talking about it. What do you say to those people who wanted to enter but didn't have the courage to? Well, Gary Jones is a finalist as well. However, he is a finalist in the outstanding contribution to BSN. So he didn't nominate himself, and he wasn't nominated as such. As a BSN team, we take who has contributed. And let me just tell you, Gary is the tech behind the podcast. So I sit here, I waffle on, I chat to people like we are now. Gary makes it sound and look good and does all the tech stuff behind it. So he's a big part of BSN. So he is a finalist. But, and I don't know if he's saying this for him or for someone else, he's very good at asking questions for other people.
He's quite good at that.
He is. So for those that were worried about entering, that didn't enter, that wanted to, that maybe felt like it was too early, enter. And what I say to people is, if you want to use us as a trial because you want to enter other awards, absolutely do it. You know, get in my inbox. I could even do it now. I could share with you those questions that we asked in the nomination form if you didn't even look, so that you get a feel for it. But I would say, and I hear this question quite a lot in terms of self-nominating, and you'll have heard me say this so many times, nobody knows your business like you do.
Yeah.
In fact, this morning I said, nobody knows your business like you do, and treat it like a bit of a mini business plan. Because most awards, and I'm not just talking about BSM ones, you've got lots of other great awards. They will ask you to look back on your 12 months, 3 years, whatever it is. What have you done? What have you achieved? What was tough? What was hard? What were the challenges? What did you face? How did you overcome it? Then you've got kind of the stuff, the stats, where you are now that they'll ask about. And then most of them ask about future plans. So it is really like a mini business plan. And I'd always say, keep it in a Word document so that the next time you enter some awards, you're not starting from scratch. I mean, I'm telling you to suck eggs, Katie, because you're a copywriter, and I'm sure you've got many a Word document with it in now. But it means next time you've got that information there and you can just tweak it and you can re-enter and all that kind of thing. So, Gary, that is a great question. Surround yourself with people that will build you up and give you that courage. Borrow it from us, borrow it from me. Like I said, the nominations this year were outstanding. Anna saw some of them, and she was saying that even based on last year's to this year, the level has gone up. Like, it's been amazing. So I think over the 3 years, we've probably had around 1,500 nominations across the 3 years. And that is 1,500 people that have stuck their hand up, put their head above the ground and said, come and get visible. We want to be recognised. But with this, and I'll be really honest, if you are successful, if you are visible, I'm not talking about awards now, I'm talking about visibility.
Yeah, generally.
And there'll be people watching this that have been in my inbox over the last few days, and they'll know it's directed at them, hopefully. It doesn't matter what you do, you will get people that don't agree with it, that make some crappy comments, that will troll, that will do whatever. I've had my fair share of internet trolls, whether it's about weight, whether it doesn't matter what it is, because it's not important. I've also seen, especially within the charity sector, you would think charity all work together. Woohoo, well, hey, no, absolutely. It's like cutthroat. And so there will always be people that want to, let's put it bluntly, piss on your parade. I shouldn't swear, but I'm going to. And you will get that regardless. So to the people that say, oh, I'll just stop posting, I'll delete this, I won't enter awards, I won't do this, don't, because you are letting them win. Have the courage, find your cheerleaders. The block, remove, delete, that's a brilliant tool because you haven't got to listen to it. Don't listen to those that are not championing you. Listen to those that do, that bring you up. That's what the community is about. That's why I want you in the room. If you're feeling like you're being trolled, or people, people are telling you don't deserve the award, or people are saying, oh, you're doing this differently, you're just doing it to win an award, good. And that's what I'd say.
Can I add one other thing to that?
And to lots. Just go.
Because I'm conscious, kind of people are probably.
I'll just get on my soapbox and then I'll upset.
I think for me, Gary, the other thing to do is to talk to people who have entered awards themselves. So have a conversation with, prior entrants, prior winners, and ask them about the process. Ask them what made them go and do it, because I think some of that is what's helped me. I've looked at some of the people that I know who have got awards from prior years and gone, okay, yeah, I can see how they're using that. And actually, I can see why it does benefit them. And why wouldn't I give it a go? And I think it's that whole idea of why wouldn't I, as opposed to, oh, why should I? Because if you're even contemplating submitting an award, it's because you've got something to submit. It's because in the back of your mind, something is going, well, I feel I've had a really good year this year, or I really feel that I did X, Y, Z, or, so you've got your against all odds category. Maybe you've had a really challenging year, but you have absolutely come back fighting. And I think sometimes having those conversations and getting that support from people who have been there and done it is as much as you can do, because it does give you that boost without having to directly say you've got to do it. I mean, I had a conversation with somebody who is now listed as a finalist because they weren't going to enter the awards. And I was like, but what about this? And what about that? And what about those things that you're doing? And they were like, oh, yeah. And that gave enough confidence.
About cheerleaders, we made a bit of a, I made a point earlier about someone who spoke to their in-laws. I'm not saying all in-laws are going to be negative, but you need those so you have different sets, don't you? You have different pools of friends. You have different sets of cheerleaders. And I genuinely think when you are a small business owner, you will be shocked at who champions you. So when I started in business, I thought my parents, my family, my friends were going to be the ones buying my product and services. You then become a realist and you realize that that's absolutely not the case. Most of them don't even know. I mean, I can remember selling products before, and I was talking to someone. I was out having a drink with my dad. Their mate started talking to me about this product, and my dad went, "That's not what you do. You sell some gunk." And I'm like, "Oh my God, like what? Just what?" Love my dad, but he is not my salesperson. And so you need these pockets of people. You need these cheerleaders to do that. And awards are a really good way of doing it. You will be in a room with over 200 people that are probably feeling the same as you. Is one of them. Pat on the back, excited. I mean, look at the finalists going out last night. There was so much excitement on socials. Imagine being in that room. You will also be around the most supportive, kind, caring, because the chances are whatever you're going through now, someone else in that room will have been through it. Carly's just said, I honestly wasn't going to apply for the awards myself. I saw Stacey's message and she did. She put a little eyeballs picture up and I responded with, I see you, Carly. So I decided rather last minute and close to closing just to try it anyway. I don't recommend all the late night writing with a baby. No, I'm pretty sure you don't. She's also for you, which is good. And Gary says, nice. Okay, I'll do some next year, but you'll have to find someone else to do your socials if I get through. Right, well, in that case, you're not allowed to enter. Gary is like I said, he does our podcast. Now, listen, when you've been in and around social media for a long, long time, for you to actually hand your socials over to someone, it's like, it makes you feel a little bit, Gary, on the other hand, like we champion each other. This is where, again, it's that collaboration over competition. Me and Gary at one point, we had very similar businesses and we would pass referrals to each other. We would say, I've got this client. They're not really for me. You have them, that kind of thing. So there is nobody that I would trust more with my social media live on the night. He gets it. He would have known like what I was going through last night, watching all these stuff going out, scheduling over three platforms every 15 minutes. It was like, and look, Gary, exactly. That was me last night for a good few hours. So he does our socials on the night because I can't do it on the night. Let's face it. I wouldn't do it after a glass of Prosecco anyway. I'm not saying that there'll be lots of glasses of Prosecco, but there will be some. So, yes, Gary, squeaky bum time, as I call it, in the words of Alex Ferguson. Yes, him, squeaky bum time. Anyway, we have lots of great people in and around our awards. So that's what I'm trying to say, Gary, is the answer to your question, very long-winded, is just bloody enter.
Just get on with it.
Just imagine him doing the socials and then he won. It'd be like, and the winner is, it's me.
Hang on, I've got to get to the stage.
Funny, yeah, with my phone. Here's a selfie. Right. Katie, it's been a pleasure. We normally do these for half an hour. We've talked for 55 minutes.
I know, darling. It's all good.
Did we expect any less? No. There you go.
And we still haven't even touched the surface.
No, we really haven't. And so that's why I wouldn't go do both. Really good at, it's a good job we know some social media managers, isn't it? Right. On that note, Katie, the final word is with you. Tell everybody who you're looking for, who you'd like to connect with, where they can find you, what's coming up, whatever you want.
All the good stuff. So, who can you connect me with? Who do I want to speak to? So right now I am looking for two different types of people. One is independent HR consultants who are looking to revamp their websites. I've got some space for doing some web pages at the moment, so it'd be great to get them in my inbox and help them with their message.
Tag them in.
Tag them in. The other one is people who are struggling with their networking. So I am rerunning my course in beginning of May for people who want to get really confident. Yeah, thanks, mate. Who want to get really confident with their networking message. So I ran a beta program for it at the start of the year. I am rerunning that course in May. The feedback on it was amazing. The people who have gone through it feel so much more confident about who they are and how they're presenting their business now. So I just want to keep doing that for more people. So if you are interested in that, get in my inbox. You can find me on mainly LinkedIn. You can also find me in the Business Success Network UK, the Leamington and Warwickshire one, the Women in Business one. I'm basically all over the Business Success Network somewhere. So have a hunt around and find me.
One day she'll be running one of these communities.
I'll give over. You can find me in One Networking on a Monday morning at 10 o'clock. There's all sorts of places you can find me, or you can find me over on LinkedIn. Just search for Katie Murray HR Copywriter and you will find me. So that's it. Oh, my website. God, I've got one of those as well. Jeez. I've got this down to a T. What's that one again? Oh yeah, katiejocopywriting.co.uk. That's Katie with an IE.
Katie with an IE. Katie Jo Copy. And at Katie Jo Copy on socials.
Yes, and at Katie Jo Copy. I'm not as kind of up together with my Instagram, but I'm working on it.
Yes. I only know that because all the finalist announcements went out last night. So I was tagging in at Katie Jo Copy. There you go. Eventually, you see, it's about visibility. I've now said it 3 times on a live. People will be going over and following you on Instagram.
I know. And you'll be able to find me in the Woman to Watch magazine.
You will. So I was going to talk about that, but I think we're going to do a separate one on that because we've now been talking for an hour. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you breathe. I'm going to let you have some lunch, whatever you need to do. And I'll get you back to talk about the Woman Who.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Woman to Watch.
That's the one.
That is. Woman Who. That's the other. That's the
one you're in.
That's the one I'm in. Sandra Garlick Awards. Another person who is ace at awards. There we go. Check them out as well. Final plug for Sandra. Everybody, she's been Katie Murray. I've been Stacey Calder. We've been chatting.
And good luck to all of the finalists. I can't wait to see you all on the 29th of June.
You will find Katie in that awards venue on the 29th of June. She'll be the one that's networking the room with all the other networkers. You'll see them. They'll all be going around the tables, taking selfies, making the most amount of noise. Yes.
That'll be the ones.
That'll be the one. Right, everybody, if you are not in the Business Success Network UK Facebook group, head on over there now. Join the group. Come and chat with us. It's not just awards. There's a lot of it in there at the moment. But there is other tools, tips, and techniques in there as well. So do go over. If you need a copywriter, for instance, Katie's in there. There's lots of web designers, all sorts of people that you can go and ask questions. You can go and network with. But go in and shout and talk and introduce yourself, because if you're a lurker in there, people aren't going to know about you. There we go. Great. See you all very soon.
Bye.